The World Peace Paradox. Why lasting peace demands strength. First perspective, everyone wants peace, but current systems fall short. World peace might be the most universal dream in human history. But if everyone wants world peace, why does it never last? Empires throughout history, from the Roman Empire to the Soviet Union, have claimed to bring peace. Even democratic nations have waged wars in the name of peace, sometimes justifiably, sometimes not. So what is true peace? It's not just the absence of war. It's a condition where conflict is rare, stability is the norm, and dignity is protected for everyone. But this kind of peace doesn't just happen. It requires systems that actually work, even when tested. Right now, the United Nations, meant to secure peace, is often paralyzed by vetoes from aggressors, like Russia in the Ukraine conflict. Regional powers like the EU struggle to coordinate effectively. Yet the EU also shows what is possible. A war-torn continent becoming a zone of deep integration and peace. From the ashes of World War II, internal peace has largely held for decades. We need to rethink the foundations. Second perspective, understanding the power vacuum. Some peace movements assume that if peaceful nations disarm, others will follow. But history often shows the opposite. As former U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger said, "When the avoidance of war has been the supreme objective of some states, the international system has been at the mercy of its most ruthless member." In other words, if good actors step back, bad actors step in. Power vacuums don't stay empty. They get filled. Always. That's why the world needs nations that are both peaceful and strong, willing to stand up. Not just for themselves, but for others. Peace through strength. Not fear, not conquest, but deterrence and responsibility. Third perspective. The good must be the strongest. Let's simplify this with a matrix. The military capability and moral orientation matrix. Every state falls somewhere on two axes. Military capability, weak to strong. Moral orientation, aggressive to peaceful. This creates four categories. 1. Incapable and aggressive, like areas once controlled by ISIS. Dangerous and unstable. 2. Capable and aggressive, like Russia and Ukraine or North Korea with its nuclear ambitions. 3. Incapable but peaceful, like Bhutan, Costa Rica, or Malta, often speaking passionately about peace but reliant on alliances for defense. 4. Capable and peaceful, like Finland, now a NATO member, or Switzerland, balancing strength with neutrality. These categories simplify complex realities, as states often shift over time, but it's the capable and peaceful group that holds the key to a better future. The good must be stronger than the bad, not to dominate but to protect, not to conquer but to uphold peace and human rights. Fourth perspective, war must never be romanticized, even by the good. But even the strong must remain humble. Because there's another danger, romanticizing war. Before World War I, European nations were swept up in nationalist pride. Newspapers spoke of honor, courage, and quick victories. Young men marched into battle singing, expecting to be home by Christmas. The reality, trenches, chemical weapons, mass death, approximately 16 to 17 million lives lost in a devastating catastrophe. And for what? That war was not a noble cause. It was a tragedy. War is never glorious. Even just wars leave scars. On land, on minds, on generations. That's why strength must always be paired with restraint, with wisdom, with a memory of what war really costs. As Finland's President Sauli Niinisto, from a nation balancing peace and defense, said, "If you want to be good and gentle, you must be capable of being tough on evil." Fifth perspective. What's next? Toward lasting peace. Let's say peaceful, democratic nations become strong enough to deter aggression. They keep bad actors in check. That's not the end. That's the beginning. World peace isn't just about armies. It's tied to culture, economy, and ecology. Lasting peace requires a renewed global political system, one that's stronger, more equitable, and capable of enforcing international norms. This might mean reforming the UN to limit veto power, strengthening international courts to hold aggressors accountable, and fostering global education for tolerance. But it also demands a shared global story, a unifying narrative that respects diversity while affirming our common humanity. True peace also forces us to rethink violence itself. States hold a monopoly on violence to maintain order, both externally against threats and internally to enforce laws. But if we want real peace, nations must evaluate their own machinery of violence. How does it evolve? Can it shift from force to justice, ensuring the indivisible dignity of every person? Sometimes peace movements do succeed. Gandhi's nonviolent resistance helped lead India to independence. But it's important to note, his success came against a democratic system still bound by law and public opinion. Technology, including AI, can help, predicting conflict, fostering cooperation. But ultimately, the choice is human. Peace isn't just a dream, it's a project, shaped by vision, powered by strength, and sustained by unshakable responsibility. Balancing power with principles, protecting democracy through action, building a culture of trust alongside resilience. As John F. Kennedy once said, "If we cannot now end our differences, at least we can help make the world safe for diversity." Step by step, with realism and effort, we can build a world where strength protects the weak, and where peace is not merely preserved, but allowed to flourish. Not by closing our eyes, but by opening them wide. Not by dreaming blindly, but by building wisely. A world where dignity is not a privilege, but a given, and where peace is not just a pause between wars, but the new default of human civilization. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay grounded,